Joey, first of all, you've told us earlier in the week that you wanted to work on set pieces and restarts. Have you managed to get the work? Can you hope to the rest of the week?
We've got another work day today, so we'll touch base on that. Obviously, there's a lot to cover in a short space of time. It'd obviously be a lot easier if we'd come in start pre-season, because we'd probably be pushing on up the table towards the kind of promotion spot. But we come in February, and you've got to put all your structures in place, and at the same time address some of the hangover of previous regimes and their ways of doing things. So that is difficult. In the midst of that, you've got a game every 3 days. So it's a unique situation for me, certainly as a young coach. I think it'd be a unique situation for even the most experienced of coaches. But again, something that we've got to address, because nobody feels sorry for anyone. No one's going to magic me another 24, 48 hours in the week to work with my group. So we just deal with what's in front of us. And as I say, there's a lot to be covered in a short space of time. All the while, you've got to be careful not to overload the players with too much information, and also not to overload the bodies, because we need energy first and foremost on a match day when the games come around.
Yeah, in an ideal situation, in an ideal world, would you have preferred not to have had a game midweek, so you had more time on the training ground before your first match?
Yeah, for sure. It's just merely about the amount of coaching time we can get in. The game is the priority, obviously, because that's your bread and butter, and making sure the lads' energy tanks are full. And if you do too much or you spend too long out on the grass, it starts to chip away at the energy that they're going to need, as I say, on that match day. So it's what we've got, and we'll make the absolute best of it. The lads were superb again yesterday, took on a lot of information, executed it really, really well. Hope to get a little bit more of that in again today, albeit on a shorter scale, because it's a Friday, and Thursday Fridays for me are always tapering into a match day. And again, the lads, as I say, have been absolutely superb, and bit by bit we will get there, and it's inevitable. If you keep following the processes, as I spoke about when I'd done my first interview when I came, I'm a massive believer in you do the right thing habitually, eventually the score takes care of itself.
Yeah. Shrewsbury are next up. What sort of a game are you expecting against them tomorrow?
Shrewsbury 4-3-3. Steve is recovering, I think, from COVID, so hopefully he continues on that path to recovery. I think he was really poorly, and glad to see he's on the mend, and hopefully it's not long before he's back in the dugout and on the touchline. So I'm not sure he's going to be at our game on Saturday, but since he's gone in there, I think we were at Fleetwood, we beat Shrewsbury at home, and I think that was second or the last game for the previous manager. And since Steve's come in, there's been a huge uplift in results and performances. So, the league position has improved. But again, if Steve probably would have been there from the start of the season, they may well be challenging in and around the playoff zone. So we face a tough task. But again, everyone you play in League One is a tough task. The teams are so closely matched, and everybody can beat everybody else. So we just have to take care of us. We have to focus really on what we're about, and I'm confident that if we can execute what we're about, we can cause this Shrewsbury team a lot of problems. On the flip side of that, we need to make sure that we are really solid in those aspects of the game that we've highlighted as needing improvement.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously very tight, isn't it, at the bottom? Do you look at the table at this stage of the season, or are you just really focused on just as long as Rovers get out of the relegation zone, that's one step at a time?
No, look, I'm very much just the next game, the next battle, the next war, whatever you want to call it, but that's the focus for me. There's 3 points available Saturday. We'll make sure that we give absolute maximum in order to attain those, and then that'll be that game shut down, and then you're on to the next one. And that's the mindset you've got to take. Certainly, the table will be watched by everybody. You're always aware of the table. You tend to look at it more after games than before games, and you tend to look at it a little bit more if you're kind of pushing on near the top end of the table, because you're trying to work out all the permutations. And no doubt the Rovers fans will be doing all the calculations around the bottom half of the table. But for me, we can't control any of that. It's a 17-game kind of season, and it's one battle, one war at a time. And that first one comes at our stadium Saturday, and we need to make sure we're absolutely bang on the money, because if we're not, we play a difficult opponent in Shrewsbury, and they can certainly cause us problems if we're not absolutely focused and absolutely on the money.
Yeah, and just finally for me, Joey, have you enjoyed the first week at the club?
Do you know what? Apart from Tuesday night's, disappointing defeat, that goal going in, and probably 2 Wigan goals are the only negative of being at the club in this short space of time. The sunshine for 3 days on the training ground, which is rare. We didn't get that up on the Fylde coast, and there's a great saying, the sun shines on the righteous. So let's hope it's a good sign. The big man above's looking after us, and he can knock one in for us Saturday and get us those 3 points.